Mr. Tim Allen, it's such an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to lie, we have two H3s and my daily driver is an H2, so I have to just say that real quick.
Well, that's a H2 Alpha, H3 Alpha, I'm sorry. And then I've redone it. I can't show you the whole thing because I tried it. It's for my younger daughter. And I always liked that vehicle because it's a badass looking. I lowered it and then I had to raise it because lowering it didn't work. I thought it would look like a rally car. And then I put a new, I've still got it, took all the chrome off of it, deadened it. You'd have to see the side of it. It's pretty cool, but thanks for notice.
No, I love it. So I grew up in a Tim Allen household, so I do have to thank you on behalf of my entire family for decades of laughs and entertainment. And my parents are super excited I get to talk to you today. As a lifelong gearhead myself, and someone who runs actually the largest classic and muscle car club in Texas, I was excited for the show Shifting Gears. It is fantastic. I've seen a couple episodes already and I love it. And cars has always been a big bond with my father and I. So I'm super excited to watch this with him. So I heard some of your own personal cars make an appearance in Shifting Gears from Sean and Chill. So how did that come about? And do you have a favorite car from your collection that is featured?
I'm kind of a practical guy. How it started was my older daughter, Kate. Kate Fox is her name, and she does a lot of stuff we do for Instagram. I build an electric hot rod called the Vic. It's on our YouTube channel, I think it's YouTube channel. And I've done a lot of project cars, and she handles that. And when we did the show, I said, well, let's do a restoration shop. And I really wasn't planning on having it be my collection. I just said, listen, it's difficult to do it on TV because you have to do it backwards. You'd have to take a car that we've already restored, make it look old digitally, and then slowly restore it. And they said, and it got crazy because nobody in the writer's room knew anything about cars. So they're kind of making stuff up in the script. And I said, well, that can't happen. It doesn't work that way. Can we make it work that way? He says, no. So between Brett Gregory and Kate Fox in my shop, my real shop, I said, listen, we can just for instance, we'll take the Vic and put it on the show. And we had to take some parts off and start. That'll be a process. Cut two, they went through my shop. So rather than rent cars, we'll just rent yours. And I said, I don't like this nepotistic thing. I don't know why I fight it, because why not rent my own car? So you got to rent them from somebody. So now it's all my classic cars, my 409 Chevy Bubble Top, which is on this episode. I've got a Corvair a Corvair, I call it a Stinger. It's actually a Corsa that I Porscheized, if you will. I've redone the suspension. I've redone the interior. It looks like a Corvair, but I always like Corvairs. And I've got a couple of high rods. There's some of the old home improvement stuff is in there in the background, if anybody notices. And it's been delectable for me because now all the guys that like cars are going, wow, we got the shop in there. And so it's somewhat like home improvement. When we started building the home improvement blue hot rod, you got guys that really like the reality of it. So it has to be, I told these guys, you can't screw around with this stuff. People are into this stuff. They're into this stuff, and you can't just make stuff up and make. So we're as close to doing stuff as possible, bearing in mind that I'm not going to take stuff off of my 409. That said, we just did this. I built a car for my grandson in this last episode, and I took a car that I've always thought was a weird one to do, is a 67 Volvo 122S. I've always thought it was a weird I always like kind of the ugly cars, and then drop the suspension, put better brakes on it, and make it faster. It's tough to make a Volvo faster. Sorry, the Swedes, but it's just tough. However, found one that I've always wanted to buy, finally bought it, and I'm sending it back to them, but we've had to take all the cool stuff off and make it look old and rusty. And there hasn't been one person, male, female, car nut, not car nut, that goes, that is a cool ass car. And I went, I can't believe people you got to look at Volvo 122s. They're so Ford sedan-ish boring, but there's something kind of cool about it.
I got to look at that because that is something that I love. I have a 32 Pontiac 5-window coupe, and I got a 68 Plymouth Satellite cop car. And then obviously my H2 and a new GTO. I don't have a classic one, but that's in my bucket list for sure. But this show is great. Everyone's going to love it. I'm excited to watch it, with my car club and with my dad. And I really think everyone's going to love Shifting Gears.
Wait do you see the cars we got coming? Just that alone and the car people in it, and then how it relates to restoring relationships, and it's funny. We got the cast on this thing. We lucked out so much with the cast on this thing.
No, I agree completely. So I wanted to thank you for chatting with me today and really hope, Mr. Allen, we can do it again soon.
I hope so too, man.